Welcome back, my duelist friends. It is Thursday, and it is time for another Spooktober deck. So hopefully you guys kind of enjoyed the Hungry Burger. Hopefully you guys took note of my, not really a correction, but definitely a modification in the notes for the playtesting yesterday. Another way to just give it a little more power because it was obviously lacking. And it's literally a 4-card swap. Today's deck, again, I know you guys are super smart, you already read the title today, is going to belong to one of the fiercest monsters Speed Duel has ever seen. And he's going to be let loose on the advanced format. Now, this deck is something that you could have already found on the channel-ish. We did do some modifying it since we did it, I think it was last year with Rage of Raw. We did do the Jinzo deck profile. Some things have changed since then, so this is more or less a refresher. Most of the test hands will be the same. If I did the test hands then, just go check out that video. If not, well, this deck's pretty self-explanatory. I know that you smart people will get this. So, let's get into the deck. First card, and probably one of my favorite cards, is the title or character, is going to be Jinzo. And yes, we've got 3 different ones. It looks like 2. These are actually from the Battle Pack series, and this one is one of their star foils, which you can now see on the screen, as well as one of the original Battle Tins, Battle Tin 11, way back in the day, for, of course, Yu-Gi-Oh! And his effect really hasn't changed that much. We can, in fact, we'll just use the newer effect text. Trap cards and effects cannot be activated. The effects of all face-up traps on the field are negated. So, what does this mean? It means, in all reality, when you're playing against Jinzo, if you have trap cards, they're supposed to stay face down. They cannot be activated. And then, of course, any that were continuous face-ups or anything that was similar to some trap cards being like monsters, they will get forced back to the back row as their effects are no longer active. So most of them will no longer be treated as a monster card. And what's the other thing? Ones that are like equip traps, they will of course also lose their effect as well. Why do we choose Jinzo for Spooktober? Just real quick. Not only is he a very menacing machine, but if we look at his little faceplate there, I get very strong Hannibal Lecter vibes from him. Hannibal Lecter definitely belongs in Halloween. So, with that said, we're going to go through all of these, and it's going to be pretty fun. This also breaks my rules of playing like 41 is the most, as today's actually going to be like a 42-card deck. Now, if you guys see anything that you can thin out of here, let me know in the comments section. Let's keep going. We got the Jinzo Jector, and again, it looks like a little mad scientist. Lots of little plugins. Kind of reminds me of Cell from DBC and Dragon Ball Super now. This card's name becomes Jinzo while it's on the field or in the graveyard. You contribute this card to add 1 Jinzo monster from the deck to the hand, except same name. Then reveal all set cards in your opponent's spell and trap zone. If there are traps among them, you may special summon Jinzo monster or monsters from the hand up to the number of trap cards revealed. You can only use this effect of the Jinzo Jector once per turn. So what he's going to do is he can immediately tribute self to add the Jinzo to my hand. And again, since it's advanced format, there's only going to be like a handful of traps unless you're playing against things like Altergeists or other decks that utilize a lot of trap cards. At which point, you might be able to suss out an infinite impermanence with this effect, and then be able to actually summon into your Jinzo. Next was the big boss monster from when this was released. Jinzo the Machine Menace, looking even bigger and looking even better. This 7-star card says, if a trap is face up on the field or in either graveyard, so maybe your opponent already used that infinite impermanence, you can special summon this from your hand, and if you do, its level becomes 6 until the end of the turn. During the main phase, as a quick effect, you contribute this card, so you special summon 1 Jinzo from the hand or graveyard. Then you can destroy all traps your opponent controls. And if there are set cards, reveal them. Of course, if they're traps, they just get destroyed. Spells would just get placed back down. You can only use each effect of this character once per turn. And again, it's not that big of a difference. It is going to be the same stats at the 24/15. But he is a free special summon, so it's very cool. Now a couple of retrains that joined the archetype. First one being the Psychic Bounder. If this card is normal or special summoned, you can add a Jinzo or a spell trap that specifically lists it in the text from deck to hand. When another monster you control is attacked by an opponent's monster before calculation of damage, you can destroy both the attacking card and this one. You can only use each effect once per turn, so it's a little different than Reflect Bounder, which did a little bit of effect damage. The Psychic Bounder, however, just total reverb, blasting the opponent's card apart. Next up, we do have the Psychic Mega Cyber. We are going to use a full playset here as well. Psychic Mega Cyber, if your opponent controls more spell traps than you do, you may special summon this card from your hand. You can only special summon one of these per turn this way. When this card declares an attack on an opponent's effect monster while you control Jinzo, you may tribute this card, place the opponent's monster face up into their spell traps as a continuous trap. So literally punches it so hard, it changes card typing and then makes it so that we can play the Machine Menace. Additionally, you can only use this effect once per turn, and it's also very good. You will note the 6-star ranking or 6-star level when we go to play the Jinzo Layered in our extra deck. Next up, because again, it would be not like me to not run Summoner Monk in any deck where I feel like Utopia can help us. Additionally, this will allow us to play the Psychic Bounder, who does actually gain effect when special summoned. And if you take another quick look to the Jinzo Jector, he is also a 4-star. So not just playing the Summoner Monk for Summoner Monk's sake, not just playing it to go into Utopia 1/, but playing it because it does actually further the strategy of this deck as well. Last monster card I'm using 3 copies Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring. You guys know what the deal is here. So real quick, take the photos, screenshots, whatever you need, and we will be back with the spells and trap cards. So just give us a second. All right, leading off our spell cards. A good portion of this deck is dark, so we are going to run 2 copies of Lure of Darkness. I still couldn't find the fit for a third. If you did want to take out the Utopia play, one thing that we could do is we could drop the Double or Nothing that's going to be in the deck. We could drop one of the Summoner Monks, and then if you want to go back up to 41, you could add the single copy here. That would be valid. Again, with a lot of the deck being dark, this is going to come in handy. Last time around, we were playing Mind Control. Today, we get to play Change of Heart. Again, no restrictions on how to play this card, except you can only have one of these in your deck at a time. And of course, it's just fantastic, guys. Play it. 3 copies of the Cyber Energy Shock Quick Play spell. So if you control any monster named Jinzo, which again, Jector is going to count, target a card on the field, destroy it. Then if it was a trap, you may apply one of the following effects. You may choose to negate the effects of one face-up card on the field until the end of this turn. Or all Jinzo you control gain 800 attack points. You can only activate one of these per turn. Again, this makes great for Summoner Monk fodder if you need to. Or just, set it and let your opponent get some spot damage during their own turn. Again, just kind of use it intuitively. There are some cards, again, like on on Master Duel right now. You guys probably saw my loss against Numeron. This would be great against like Planet Pathfinder, because again, you can't really stop the effect, but they can't activate the effect in response if the monster card's already been destroyed. So, boom, there it is. Double or Nothing, you guys know this if you know me. So we'll just keep moving. 3 copies of Foolish Burial Goods. And I want to say we just got this with the newest Rainbow Dragon structure deck. So for those of you who haven't had copies of this yet, nice, kind of bland looking commons in the deck, along with Ash Blossom and Go Spell, and an entire Crystal Beast deck, like, go get it. Go get it. It's a great deck. What this will do is Foolish Burial for a spell trap. You can only activate one of these per turn. Literally send a spell trap from your deck to the discard pile. Additional copies can be thrown away for the Summon and Monk effect. Next up, big play here. 3 copies, Law of the Cosmos. Your opponent can set 1 trap directly from their hand or deck. This is the effect. You give them that option. Here's the thing. If they did, so again, with Infinite Impermanence and Solemn Strikes being things, if they set it, remember they can't activate it the turn they set it, then you can special summon Jinzo from your deck, which means now it's negate. If they chose not to, then you get to add a Jinzo or a monster that specifically lists it in the card text and add that from your deck to your hand. These are once per turns. So again, an inexperienced player may try to set a trap card thinking that, oh, this is good, but you might be able to trip them up. Again, since it's Jinzo, I'm not really worried about Batic Row per se, because again, we can just flat out negate traps. But monsters and going second is going to be a big deal. And 2022 allows us to run Raigeki at 3. So anytime you have a card that just says destroy all your opponent's monster cards, I'm all in. Let's talk traps. I've got 5 of them for you. The first one is going to be the breakthrough skill. And I play the breakthrough skill because this is one of the reasons I wanted to use my Foolish Burial Goods. Again, this removes me needing to interact with my opponent to be able to special summon the Machine Menace. And what's going to happen here is we can just throw this to our own discard pile, or we can just use it. If we use this the first time, target a face-up effect monster your opponent controls. That monster has its effects negated until the end of the turn. However, during the turn, except the turn is sent to the graveyard, you may banish this from the graveyard. Target a face-up effect monster your opponent controls. That target has its effects negated until the end of this turn. Now, I'm thinking as a trap we could do this during our opponent's turn as well, since it doesn't say during our own main phase. It may be during our own main phase. At which point, again, this is going to be like activating Dark Ruler no more, or the players who use Infinite Impermanence at the beginning of their own turn. But since this is going to activate and resolve in the graveyard and then banish itself, we can play this with Jinzo on the field. And again, they just happen to be playing some OTK speed up. Being able to send this into the discard pile, or set it, use it, and then get our own special summons and facilitate our own effects. Very good. Still in love with the play. All right. Big trap card I added. Infinite Impermanence. I think this was before the Cyber Strike deck. So Infinite Impermanence wasn't as, like, common. Again, it came out as a super rare there. These are the dual overloads. These aren't even the gold rares or anything like that. These aren't the original print runs. Impermanence has been played quite a few times, printed quite a few times. Still a great card. And again, we're going to use it here. Again, we could use it when our opponent goes first to try to make our turns happen more easily, more naturally. But again, it really does help to accentuate and facilitate more plays out of this deck. So that's it for the main deck. That's 42 cards. Go ahead, take your pictures and or screenshots and or notes, and I will be right back. We've got a 15 card extra deck. We got to cover that here real quick too. So just a second. All right, going into the extra deck. A lot of this is going to be pretty basic, so a lot of it I'm going to speed through. I do want to talk about one card in particular. I have 2 copies of the Jinzo Layered, and I would like to discuss this. But before I do, let me give you guys the rest of this. This is all pretty self-explanatory. You're going to be playing an additional 2 copies of number 39 Utopia, the single copy of Double, a single copy of number 60 Dugaris, the Timeless, single S39 Utopia Prime, single S39 Utopia the Lightning. Going into links, you're going to be playing 1 copy Apollosa, 1 Boral Sword Dragon, 1 IP Masquerena, 1 Nightmare Cerberus, 1 Phoenix, 1 Unicorn, and of course 1 Underworld Goddess of the Closed World. And a lot of this is fairly standard fare. especially when you guys get used to my playstyle. I do tend to play some pretty bland. I don't tend to switch it up too often. Extra deck links. And again, whenever I get a chance to play the Utopia engine, I tend to. But again, we're able to like double over Jinzo, depending on how your Boral Sword is feeling, how Appaloosa's doing. We could double those over as well with Dugaris. Underworld Goddess of the Closed World still does a lot of great stuff. IP Masquerena lets you do some stuff. It really is just like a good stuff extra deck with 2 copies of Jinzo layered. So now let's talk about Jinzo layered. So it is rank 6. It is 2 level 6s. Let's see if we get focus. You can detach material from this card. Target 1 face-up monster your opponent controls. Take control of that until the end phase. It cannot attack or declare an attack, or cannot activate its effect or declare attacks. So this is what I'm saying about link building. If there is a trap card on the field, you may tribute 1 monster. Could be the one that you just took. If you do, destroy 1 face-up card on the field. Each effect is once per turn. And again, looking great, looking like an absolute Halloween monster here. Let me press the sleeve down so that we get more of the just that beautiful art right there. So this is another Spooktober build, and I'm going to just kind of fold him in like this in case you guys need to take your screenshot of this. Guys, thanks for stopping by. I do hope that you've enjoyed this. Again, if you were looking for test hands, I'm not going to be doing them this year for this deck. Because again, it's pretty much the same deck as we did the last time. And the old test hands should stay, fairly the same. The big increases are, I don't feel so bad about putting in permanents in here now. Because just about everybody should have a copy. Geki is at 3 now. Change of Heart came back. There was enough to change this. And enough to make this so where you've got a couple different paths of just things that you can do to play. So guys, I hope that you enjoyed it. Do all the things if you want to support us. Like and comment, easiest, quickest things. Subscribe if you haven't. Share it with your friends. But most importantly, go out, try to have a great day. And you know what? Stop by tomorrow. I've got another deck. A whole different deck. Well, I mean, we did it last year, but we're updating it because, Spooktober. So stop by, check it out. And then this weekend, we're going to get just absolute, deep into the speed duel. We're going to finish out the 3X builds. And then from there, we're going to start building heavy into the big boss characters like Tempest, one of the big ones I want to play. And then, of course, I want to use all of the new skill cards. And then I want to work my way back and start updating all the decks again. So, guys, have a great day. See you later.